Hey, what is going on, guys? It's Melontosh here, back for another top 5 video that you can usually expect to see every Wednesday. However, next Wednesday there's not going to be a video because my girlfriend is visiting, so it's a little bit more important to me. But the Wednesday after that, of course, there will be another video, so stay tuned for that. I do want to give a little disclaimer before we start the video that this is, of course, my opinion. So if you do disagree, feel free to leave a comment in the comment section down below, giving your top 5 favorite grass types in the draft league format. This list will not be including megas, as I feel like they're a whole separate video. And I wanted to start with grass types, as I don't really think they get enough love in the draft format. With all that, let's get on into the video. Coming in at number 5 is none other than the elegant Roserate, with impressive stats across the board and a huge special attack stat of 125 and a very respectable special defense stat of 105, and a really decent speed stat at 90 means that Roserate can perform so many roles, from offensive with choice scarf or choice specs to defenses with sub seeds and even spikes and toxic spikes. Toxic spikes have been increasing more and more in popularity since the start of Gen 7. And with Roserate in your team, not only do you get a grounded poison type to absorb toxic spikes, but you have a setter as well. Talking about things that have become more popular in Gen 7, Roserate can also perform the role of a bulky Pokemon with a good speed stat. Due to so many of the new threats being on the slower end of the scale, having a decent speed stat as a bulky Pokemon is very sought out after nowadays, and Roserate is great at performing that role. However, Roserate does not have the best physical bulk, with only 60 HP and 65 defense. This combined with its grass poison typing means that Roserate does not take earthquakes or ground type attacks in general very well, and this is what lots of people are looking for in their grass type. Nevertheless, that can be drafted around, and Roserate has great variety and good all-round stats, while often not being priced too high, and that places her at number 5. Slotting in at number 4 is none other than Tafiti herself, Shaymin. With those impressive base stats of 100 across the board, it means that Shaymin can perform pretty much any role in a team, defensive on either side, offensive on either side, with even access to moves like Sword Dance. Shaymin is, however, used more specially offensive, with a better move pool on the special side, and of course that all-powerful signature move in Seed Flare, having 120 base power and a slightly annoying 85% accuracy, and a huge 40% chance to lower your opponent's special defense by 2 stages. This means that if Shaymin gets the drop, which is more likely than Scald Burning, you essentially have a Shaymin with a nasty plot up, going for a stab 120 base power move on a Pokemon that just switched in. That's not going to be good for you. This gives Shaymin a unique potential that can't be used on any other Pokemon, and for that reason Shaymin falls to number 4. One of my favourite starters of all time, taking the number 3 spot, none other than Superior. Of the 3 starters released in Gen 5, the Grass Snake was by far the most superior. Superior sat lonely down in the dumps with no one wanting to use it, until one day Arceus came down from the heavens and said, "Screw you, Samurott. I'm going to make Emboar and Superior threat with good hidden abilities." That's right, what makes Superior good is not its stats or its move pool, but on the contrary, its ability. If you don't know, Contrary boosts stats in reverse. So when Superior goes for Leaf Storm, its special attack raises by 2 stages. That is right. When Superior uses one of the most powerful moves in the game with base 130 power, its special attack is increased again and again. This turns Superior's mediocre 75 special attack into the huge offensive threat that it is today. It is, however, these lackluster stats that hold Superior back, but it does have good enough speed to take advantage of its ability, and has some natural bulk, so it can be a good screen setter or even have a good sub-seed step. Superior in Ultra Sun and Moon was given the ability to defog, which might not mean much in standard play, but in the draft format it can be very useful. With its grass typing allowing it to force out most rockers in the game, it is definitely a viable option. But with all that being said, Superior sits at number 3. I think the number 2 spot is possibly the most controversial of them all in Tapu Bulu. Tapu Bulu has a really nice typing in Grass Fairy that does have an annoying 4x weakness. It has decent defenses across the board, giving it some much needed natural bulk. Tapu Bulu has an insane 130 attack stat coupled with grassy terrain that means that this thing hits the draft format harder than a fat kid hits McDonald's. Seriously though, have you tried switching in to a banded wood hammer? Grass terrain also gives Tapu Bulu 6% recovery while it's on the field. When this is coupled with leftovers, it's the same as having Toxic Orb recovery, which is kind of insane, and when you add into the factor of Leech Seed, Tapu Bulu just won't die. Tapu Bulu also has the ability to run a Sub-Seed set as it has okay speed and good natural bulk. It's also, because of the natural bulk, is it a great Assault Vest user that can basically take any hits, and thanks to grassy terrain, basically has leftovers while having an Assault Vest, which is really good. And yes, I know it's slow and it has a 4x weakness, so it can easily be revenged, but I haven't gotten to the best part of Tapu Bulu in the draft format. While I did mention the effects of grassy terrain on Tapu Bulu itself, I did not mention the huge amount of team support grassy terrain can give to your team when drafted correctly. Halving the damage taken from ground type attacks such as Earthquake and Bulldoze means that potent threats like strong fire types or strong poison types have one less weakness, and it reduces one of the offensive capabilities of probably one of the best offensive typings in the game of ground types. It also gives Mons with no recovery, defensive mons with no recovery, an extra round of leftovers, which really I feel gives them, you know, they can stay around for longer, which is really great for you. Stuff like Blastoise, Tentacruel, I mean, is massive for this because it gets rid of the ground weakness and it gets that extra round of leftovers. With that huge amount of team support, Tapu Bulu takes the number 2 slot. I'm not actually sure if this is getting any less controversial, but at number 1 we have Katana. Katana is honestly just such a threat in the draft format with a massive 181 attack stat and a very decent speed stat at 109, and with the addition of Pokemon Ultra Sun and Ultra Moon, it either has a better move pool than before with access to moves like Knockoff and Defog. It has really great setup options in Swords Dance. It actually gets Carmined, not that I really include that, but it also has the defensive stat to be able to set up on mons, like physical mons that are going for physical moves. It has 131 base defense. It can set up on pretty much any physical move. Katana also has one of the best abilities in the game in Beast Boost, which further increases its sweeping potential. Due to this ability, Katana is given a boost to its highest stat when it kills a mon. This means that Katana is a huge threat under the Choice Scarf because it gets a kill and then its attack is increased already from 181, and you have basically a Katana with a Dragon Dance up, which is terrifying. Katana also actually has a cool stat where it can boost its speed. I believe it's like 21 EVs in attack minus attack, so you have to be like timid, but then you can also invest in your HP. So that's pretty cool, and being able to increase your speed each time after you go for a Sword Stance is very threatening, and since it has such a high attack stat, it still has decent offensive stats. And yes, Katana is pretty one-dimensional Pokemon, but it is one of the best at what it does, and it forces so much prep. And if you do choose to give Katana the Z moves, it can break through teams with ease. What's more is Katana is normally priced rather low for its potential, and for this reason, Katana takes the number 1 spot. That was my top 5 grass-type Pokemon in the Draft League format. This was, of course, my opinion, and no Mega Evolutions were included, so feel free to leave your own list in the comment section down below, or just say my list is trash, or, you know, tell me that I'm a god. I don't know. Whatever you guys want to do. I know it was a bit controversial, I think, but these are my honest opinions. But with all that being said, that is going to be all from me today, guys. If you are feeling like an absolute legend, make sure you go ahead and smash that like button down below. But other than that, I will smell you later.